Hello everybody, welcome back to the Sportsman Untitled with me, Conor McGilligan, and I am joined by the fantastic Kris Voakes, and I am joined also by your EFL aficionado, Gab Sutton. We're here to talk about Norwich versus Middlesbrough. Two good teams going at it, I think, on Saturday at 3 p.m. Gab, you excited for this one?
Very, yeah. I think Middlesbrough have possibly surprised a few people with how well they've started, especially that performance at Millwall on week 2. And that gives them a real foundation to build from. I think keeping Hayden Hackney so far has given them a real strength because he's been so tenacious for them in midfield, hasn't he? And won so many duels, and I think that could be huge. But Norwich also seem to have a different edge about them this season as well, don't they? Because they carried a set-piece threat, didn't they, in that 2-1 victory at Portsmouth last weekend, which is no mean feat in itself. They've got a bit more height and physicality about them. So two teams who have got a bit more of a stronger, more rigid edge to them than maybe we saw last season having when they both underperformed. So, I'm in two teams that have a few extra ingredients about them.
Yeah. Norwich, they're my dark horses this season, Kris. I think they will make that top 6. I like the addition of Harry Darling. I think Liam Manning coming in, I think possession-heavy manager. Really like his style build-up from the back. I like Kris. I think that's a top signing. If they keep hold of Josh Sargent, who knows, could go to a front 2 at points. It feels like it's a substitution rotation at the minute. But Norwich overall, it feels like they're going to really grow into this season for me at some stage. I mean, what's your thoughts on them?
I think Darling's a great addition as well. And you know, just looking at what Liam Manning achieved at Bristol City with what he had, that was a pretty phenomenal turnaround. I know, you know, the low threshold for points, etc. But Bristol City got there when a lot of other more fancy teams did hang around, and I just thought it was fantastic, the job that he did. Given greater resources, which I think undoubtedly Norwich have, especially with Josh Sargent, if they can hold on to him. I expect them to have a pretty good season. That addition of Darling, that was my big deal with Norwich last season. I thought at times they were a bit too easy to get through, really too easy to get through in games that they really should have been bossing, given the status of Norwich City, given what they've been able to produce in the Championship over the last 10 years or so. I think that's a massive addition for them at the back.
Always feels like a massive win down at Fratton Park as well, doesn't it, with John Mousinho's side and how resolute they were at home last season.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think it was in any doubt from what I saw of it. It was just, you know, could Norwich go on and kick on and score more goals, I think, for a lot of that game. They looked a really good outfit, and to go down there, get a result like they did, particularly after a disappointing home defeat first day, I think Norwich going into this game with just a huge amount of confidence in being able to do everything that you would expect of a Norwich team.
Yeah, I thought they had to dig in at points against Portsmouth, like, you know, you're expecting them to. But I just think keeping hold of key men, I think Marcelino Nunes, I think Josh Sargent, they've got a lot of verve, haven't they? They've got a lot of swaz in that team. Going up against the Middlesbrough side, who've started very, very strongly this season. You just mentioned the midfield balance, which I completely agree with. Could it just be a case of these two cancelling each other out on Saturday?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think this is a really interesting test of the progress that both have possibly made. I think from Middlesbrough's point of view, what I'm quite surprised by in terms of how smoothly they've started is I wasn't sure about how close a fit Rob Edwards' 3-4-1-2 system is for the Middlesbrough squad in terms of playing with wing-backs. But they've signed Callum Britton, which I think was a big signing because I've liked him in the Championship over the last few years, particularly with Blackburn Rovers. And actually, Sammy Silvera, who's more of an attacking player, has adjusted really well to playing left wing-back. And I would expect them to bring in a specialist, but I think that kind of takes some of the pressure off. So Middlesbrough have started really well in the league, and Norwich are obviously off the mark as well. So I'm feeling like this might be a draw, you know. I think it could be a 1-1.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm going with it as well. Speak a little bit, I mean, we spoke about Rob Edwards quite a bit, haven't we, in the last week. Talk a little bit about Liam Manning, Gab. What sort of what's he going to bring to Norwich? Are you excited by obviously the transition from Bristol City to Norwich?
Yeah, I think Norwich City have pivoted in their recruitment this summer. So whereas they did in 2024 go for lots of really young players in their recruitment, they kind of missed the balance that's required to be a really efficient team. And I think with Liam Manning, they've gone for more of a peak-aged sort of age bracket, whereas which has given them a bit more, helped them become a bit more efficient, a bit more streetwise, not necessarily going for experienced players, although they did sign Jeffrey Slapp, but generally sort of the players in those mid-20s. And I think that's helped with the likes of Medic and Topic that they've signed, and Darling that Kris mentioned. So I think that's helped Norwich. Liam Manning, I think gets teams playing good football, but also within a pretty solid shape, and that's what we'll be looking to continue.
Would you be excited as well? Obviously, we're just speaking about Kris Garden there. We're speaking about if they can keep hold of Sargent. I mean, it's one of the most potent attacks really in the division, isn't it?
Well, it's a lovely option, isn't it, to know which one. Do you sign the lad who scored tons of goals in Scandinavia, or do you sign the best striker in the Championship do you play the best striker in the Championship from last season? And I think to have those two competing with one another, or to, like you mentioned, possibly play them as a two up top, I think that adds to Norwich's options. But they've had a really good transfer window, and I think people are right to be optimistic about them, as well as, by the way, some of those young players that they did invest in last summer actually being a bit further along in their development.
100%. We were just talking about the importance of Rob Edwards' system being implemented, and we were speaking about how aggressive it was and how it feels like the Borough players have taken to that pretty early on there, Kris. How important, though, is Hayden Hackney?
Oh, hugely. There's no surprise that he played a massive part in their win at the weekend against Millwall. And just look at the kind of calibre of clubs who are after him. There's no surprise really, given the way he's performed the last couple of years with Borough. I think they not necessarily due a bump in the road, but they're one of these Borough where there was a bit of an expectation that they might level off a little bit. They're going to a really tricky place, Carrow Road. I don't think it's the easiest place to go to. Normally, that was the kind of difference last season a little bit for Norwich. I know you two are siding towards a draw without giving too much away, but I think this is Borough's biggest test so far, without a doubt. I think they go there with a lot of vibrancy, a kind of real edge to their play, but I think they're going to face a Norwich side who, like we said, they're really strong. They've got presence everywhere on the pitch, and that's going to be something new for them, given that Millwall didn't give them the typical Millwall kind of style to go up against at the weekend, and they were a bit too easy to get through. I think this is the real test of where Borough are at this point, because we're only 2 games into the season.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel from a defensive perspective, both sides have got to be really on it with this one. I think the interesting thing is, we were just speaking about it previously on the show that we've done before this. It feels like there's just been a bit of a new pizzazz about Middlesbrough, doesn't there? There's a new energy, and what do you think that is? Do you think it's a different voice?
A new pizzazz or a new azaz?
Yeah, you were going for the Finn pizzazz, weren't you?
But what do you think it is? Do you think fresh voice, fresh system? Because Carrick was, albeit a pretty decent manager for Borough, wasn't he?
Absolutely, and not just a fresh voice for the players, but a kind of fresh scenario for Rob Edwards, because, as we said, like 8-9 months ago, it felt like the whole football world was on his shoulders. Now he's getting the team playing in exactly the style that he wanted them to come in to play when he came in, and there is that real kind of new edge about them. I do like the way that they're playing. I just think are Borough one of these teams that can get a couple of early wins, they suffer a couple of setbacks, and it's then where you find out about what Borough really are this season, 5-6 games in, when you start to play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. Like, is that where we find out the real Borough? They did basically turn over against Doncaster. I think they should have made more changes, really, because I think there was a bit of a half-heartedness about their performance. But yeah, this one, it's a really tasty one, because I think 2 good sides who should do well this season. Borough in real form, Norwich showing what they can do against Portsmouth. If I wasn't concentrating on another game that afternoon, I think I'd be watching this.
I'm going to push you for a score prediction.
I'm going to go 1-1.
Sitting on the fence.
Sitting on the fence is the only place I know.
Kris?
I think 2-1 Norwich.
Yeah, I feel like we have to go out there, don't we? We can't. 1-1. Yeah, I'll go 3-1 Borough. Why not? Why not? There we go. That's how fickle I am. But guys, that's been it for this episode. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Make sure you slap a like on the video. Comment as well. We're always reading your comments. The engagement, interaction on the channel's been fantastic recently. Really appreciate you tuning in. Check out the Monday show as well. Make sure you go and do that now, everybody. I will be back with 2 very special guests on Monday as well. Like, comment, subscribe, as I've said. And we'll see you in a bit. Cheers.